Okay, we're on Journey Behind the Falls. I added the waterfall sounds. It is just like this. It's very loud and it's very wet. I had to add the sounds because my camera did not pick up much sound. But it's pretty accurate. It's very windy, very loud, very wet. So you're seeing the Canadian Horseshoe Falls right now, and I'm constantly trying to wipe the lens because it's constantly getting wet. I have my GoPro camera in a waterproof case, so it doesn't pick up too much sound. But I wanted to record the experience to show my kids. I said thank you for the sun, Lord. I think the waterfalls are the most enjoyable when the sun is out. Even though it's very wet, you often see a rainbow. So this is Journey Behind the Falls on the Canadian side. Niagara Park sells a classic pass, which is what my sister and I got. You get Journey Behind the Falls, you get the hornblower cruise, and you get the whitewater walk, which you can see Class 6 rapids. It's pretty cool. It's a long walk in nature along the river. And you get Niagara's Fury, which is a pretty cool 3D, 4D. You do get wet. It's like a theater experience, it's almost like a ride. I mean, our kids would have really enjoyed it. It's kind of cool. You get to see the story of Niagara Falls, the history a little bit. Anyway, you get those four things. So this is the hornblower cruise. It's different from the Maid of the Mist. The hornblower is accessed on the Canadian side of the falls. They wear the red ponchos. The hornblower is a more popular cruise than the Maid of the Mist. More people stay on the Canadian side. That's my sister, Tanya. So since more people stay on the Canadian side, the hornblower cruise is more popular than the Maid of the Mist. Both cruises go right in front of the falls, and they go to both of the falls. So here we are approaching the American Falls. The American Falls is on the American side, so you're looking at New York State. It's saying that all the daredevils Sorry about that. I added some waterfall sounds to this because I recorded this on my GoPro with a waterproof case, so the sound isn't very good. But they were saying that all the daredevils who have gone over the falls in barrels and whatnot they have not done that on the American Falls because there's a lot of heavy rock formations at the bottom. Everybody's gone down the Canadian, the Horseshoe Falls. So that's what they were saying. We read about different people that have gone down the falls. Some have lived and some have been injured and some have died. So the hornblower cruise, from what I understand, has been around a lot longer than the Maid of the Mist. Maybe not a lot longer, but it's been around longer. And next we will be coming up on the Horseshoe Falls, right after an appearance from my sister. So my sister and I decided to take this trip. She and I had a lot of fun. We're not twins, but we are sisters. Sisters trip. Hashtag no kids. So we had a lot of fun. We stayed for 3 days, 3 nights and 3 days. That's plenty of time if you don't have any kids to get a lot of stuff done, a lot of sightseeing. Niagara Falls is beautiful. They've really turned it into a tourist pit. Everything costs money, and they have really figured out how to take your money from you. They charge you for everything. They charge a tourist tax, which some people say you can have it removed. So if you go out to eat in Niagara Falls, there usually will be some strange tax added to your bill. So from what I understand, if you ask, you can have it removed. But it's so beautiful. I definitely recommend going. We met people from Australia when we were there. We met people from the Dominican Republic. We met people from Korea, China, people from around the United States, Connecticut, Oregon. We met locals too. So there's just people from all over that come. So now we're coming up on the Canadian Horseshoe Falls, which we learned has receded a whole lot over the last 500 years. So the force of the water, the erosive power of the water has definitely cut back the rock, which is super interesting to me because when I was in college I studied geology and geomorphology. So of course that was quite a while ago. We learned that the water is green. It has a really definite green tint to it because it picks up so many minerals and so many bits of rock, like rock particles, colors the water green. So sorry you can't really hear, but it's very windy at this point, very wet. The ponchos are more of a novelty. They don't really protect you from a whole lot of water. The force of the wind just blows the hat right off. I don't know how people's phones make it through all this. I had my phone in a waterproof case, which I got from Amazon, and it's actually protected it. It protects it even if you submerge it underwater for a short period of time, but I don't know how people go to the waterfalls and get their phones extremely wet like this, but I mean, I can't keep the water off the lens of the camera. It's like being in a rainstorm. You can hear the rumble. When I was recording this, like I said, my GoPro does not have a strong microphone, so it didn't really pick up a lot of sound. But as you can see, everybody's ponchos are just blowing around. There's my sister again. Yeah, she said it's magnificent. And it certainly is. It's a lot more exciting, obviously, to be there. I added some waterfall sounds again. They're coming up here. I mean, the explosive power, the sound, the rumble, the whole experience, it's just like touches all your senses. You're getting constantly sprinkled with water. The wind is blowing in your face. It's very exciting. But my sister and I, just before we did this, we went to the journey behind the falls, and we got a lot more wet doing that. I mean, I added this. There is no thunder sound, but the wind and the rain sound is pretty accurate. My sister and I looked this up. This is an abandoned electric building from 1909 on the Canadian side. So it's been abandoned since 1909. I mean, it looks really old and it looks abandoned, but this was like from the power company. We Googled it. Green, blue, red, purple, red, yellow. This is Horseshoe Falls. At night. It's gorgeous.